up, YouTube? So welcome to the channel again. Today I just got these Subispeed taillights, so I'm going to be installing these on my car. So if I lift the box, let me unwrap these really quick. So here are the taillights. These are the Subispeed TR Style Taillights. Also, my background's a little dirty. I'm in the basement. My basement's kind of filthy. But yeah, these are the smoked lens with the black housing. So I have a black car and I want something dark, so I thought these would go perfectly. And I love the design of like the C shape on these. It's similar to OEM, but like, you know, still just better. On the back we have two connectors. So this goes to your stock taillight harness, and then this is actually for some relays. I mean, sorry, not relays. These are for some resistors that they actually supplied with the box. So since these are LED taillights and turn signals, when you turn the taillights on after you swap these out, when you hit your turn signal, the car will think that one of your light bulbs is burnt out because an LED light draws less current. So what that does is it creates hyper blinking, which is just like that rapid blinking when you hit your turn signal. So with the resistors that come in the box, you attach them or you plug them in, and then that prevents the hyper blinking. I already have LED turn signals in the front of my car, so I swapped those out previously. So I actually went ahead and swapped out the relay module for the turn signals. So I swapped that out to one that's made for LED turn signals, so I don't get the hyper blinking. So I'm not going to use the resistors, but if you need them, they come in the box. I'll show you guys what they look like. And then you just plug them in here, and then on the back of the resistor there's like some double-sided sticky tape, so you could just attach it, in the car. Alright, so let me show you guys the resistors really quick. So here we have the resistors. These are kind of big, beefy boys, but basically this plug connects to this end over here, and then you just peel off the backing on the tape, and then you just stick these inside the car underneath the trunk liner, and then that'll keep your turn signals from hyperblinking if you don't have the module. Since I already swapped my turn signal module, I'm not going to use these. But besides this, everything else should just be plug and play. Like, I bought these, what year is it? 2021. So I know like some of the earlier models you had to like tap into the harness, the tail light harness, but they've made some revisions throughout the years, and now these are just plug and play and they should work right out of the box. So also another thing to note, these have sequential turn signals. So when you turn the turn signals on, the light will actually sweep from the inside to the outside. And I'll show you guys later once I have it installed what it looks like. But if you don't want the sequential turn signal and you just want like a solid yellow light that just turns on and off, that's what this switch is for. I believe 1 turns on the turn signal, the sequential, and then 0 turns it off. I'll find out once I put them on the car. But yeah, so let's go take a look at the car now to see what it looks like with the stock turn signals. The stock taillights. Alright, so the first thing you want to do, obviously, get the trunk open, and then you have to peel back. You can either take out the whole trunk liner if you want, or what I'm going to do is at least just take off this corner part and this corner part, because we just need access behind here, because the taillight's here, so I got to get behind it. So what you need to do is there's a few pop clips that need to get removed. So I'm going to take out this middle piece just to make it a little bit easier to pull the peel back these ends. So there's going to be one here, one here, one here. There's a pop clip right here, and then on the opposite side is another one also here. So remove these, like all 5 of these, and then you should be able to peel this side back to get enough access to the light. Same thing with this side. So I'm just gonna do that right now. Alright guys, that was a little harder than I thought it was gonna be. And actually, I ended up taking a lot more than just those 5 clips. So I took the 3 clips that were holding this trim piece in the middle, that one down there, and then if you just pull up on it, it will release from these clips and then you can take it out. On the sides, the other clips that I removed besides the 5 that I mentioned, there's one up here, and then on the opposite side, one over here, and then there's one down here, and then another one over here. So removing all of those, and then I took the trunk liner out, and then I removed these side pieces. There's like some sound deadening, like styrofoam or something. Just remove these pieces from the sides, and then you can easily pull this out. One thing I want to mention, so these are the normal clips that you will see. These are pretty easy to remove. They basically, the way they work is like, you know, when they're sitting, they're like this inside the trunk liner. So what you want to do is you want to, you know, start pulling on it a little bit until you can get it to separate. So you have this white portion and this black portion. So you want to pull on the black part and they'll come out, and then you could take the white portion out as well. I don't know why, but I had these weird other clips in 2 spots, and these were like impossible to remove. I actually had to cut one because I could not pull it out. These are terrible design. I don't know why anybody did this, but hopefully you guys don't have any of these. These are the normal ones. What I do recommend though is getting like a box of spare clips. This works for, like, you know, bumpers, trunk liners, and interior pieces, because if you break any, you can just replace them. So I broke one, and I was actually missing one, so I'm just gonna replace it with these. So once you got the trunk liner peeled back, I have additional wiring because I have the 4th brake light at the bottom. So that's what this extra wire is, and then I have a switch here to turn on the flashing or solid for that light. But you have here your headlight. Here's the harness. So you just want to unplug that, and that's going to plug into your the new taillight harness on the new lights. And then you have 3 screws you got to remove. And then on the other side. So these are 8mm. So just take these out, and then what you're going to want to do is pull back on the light. There's like a little clip that it fits into. So you just want to pull back straight, and then the taillight should come out. Alright, and here's the taillight. It's a little crusty in here, but as you can see here, see that little clip there? That goes into there. So basically what you want to do is, let me put my camera down. Basically, what you want to do is you want to like grip like the corner of the taillight and pull back. Whoops. And then just pull back. And then you'll feel a little bit of pressure, but like, a little bit of resistance, but just pull straight back and you'll hear it unclip and they'll slide right out. So something I recommend doing while you have your tail light out, because it's not often they're going to be coming back here, just get some isopropyl alcohol and get like a microfiber towel and just, you know, give it a nice wipe, because, you know, now that you have the tail light out, you can give it a nice clean. And for anyone who's struggling to get those clips out, I have a bunch of these little plastic, I guess trim poppers slash pop clip removers, and I have this thing also. This is very useful for those tight, tough to get pop clips. So it's like a little wrench, and it's like an extractor. So you grip the pop clip in the middle, and then the sides, the ends will basically like sit on the surface, so it's easier to remove the pop clips. So these things are very useful, and like, I don't know, a few bucks. It's in this whole pack. There's like 7 or 8 tools in here. It was like $6. So when you go to install your new taillights, remove these little plastic covers. They're just covering the screw hole. And then this big, like, rubbery kind of gasket, make sure that that's, properly, on, that it's not peeling or coming off, because that's what's gonna help keep water from getting inside your car or like in the trunk area. That'll help reduce condensation, so make sure that that rubber pieces on there. And then same thing when removing it, just you're doing the opposite now. You have this little tab here, so make sure that tab lines up with this white clip. And then once it lines up, just put your screws in, attach your connector. If you're gonna use the resistor, you know, connect the resistor and mount it. And then, you know, before you close everything, make sure you test it. So just turn the lights on, make sure everything works. So I'm gonna go put this in right now. All right, so when you're putting the light in, one thing that might help is just peeling back the edges of the, I don't know, the plastic cover. Because when you're putting it in, this plastic cover is like tucked all the way around, so you don't want this to get caught inside. But yeah, I mean, here it looks. Fitment is, you know, really good. It's not 100%, I would say it's like 95%. As you can see here, if I like push on the light, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but like it flexes a tiny bit. It's not terrible. There's like a slight gap on top. Like, you know, I guess if you push really tight, you can maybe make it a little better. Just make sure when you're putting your screws on, you making, like, you know, don't over tighten them, but make them nice and firm, because as you tighten it down, that'll compress that little rubber like seal, because you want a really good seal in here. You don't want any water getting in here. So just make sure, you know, you make them nice and tight. Don't over tighten them, you know, very firm. And then, you know, just connect it. And then I didn't even use I'm not using the resistor, and I just tested them, and all the functions work perfectly. The turn signal, you know, swipes to the left. There's no hyper blinking, it's just regular, you know, blinking. So yeah, so now I'm gonna work on getting the other light installed, put everything back together, and then I'll show you guys what the final product looks like. Alright guys, for those of you who are not going to be using the resistors that came in the box, one thing I'd recommend is just getting some electrical tape and just covering this connector, you know, just a little bit. I mean, you know, you shouldn't get any water because of this little like seal, but just in case if some water gets in, like, you know, behind your tail light, you don't want any water getting on this connector and possibly causing any issues. Like, it's probably fine, but, you know, just as an added, you know, little safety, it's, you know, it doesn't cost much. It'll take you like 10 seconds. You know, it's like an added peace of mind. So yeah, just put a little tape on there before you install it, or even after. It's pretty easy to get to. All right, time to put the passenger side in, and then we'll see what the car looks like with both lights. All right guys, so I got both lights on. So for anybody curious, here is the sequential turn signal. Here is the solid turn signal. So if you hit that little switch on the inside, right now I have the right light set to, can you guys see? 0. So 0 turns off the sequential, and you just have a solid yellow light. Just all the yellow LEDs just blink together. And if you have the sequential turned on, or that switch set to 1, then you get the sweeping. Personally, I think the sweeping looks pretty dope, so I'm gonna leave it like that. But if you want to go with just a traditional, you know, regular turn signal where all the lights just turn on together, you don't want to be that flashy, you can just hit that switch to 0. And the best part is it's pretty easy. You just hit the switch and you can switch between the two modes. So I got both lights in. They look fantastic. I am so happy with these. Also, the right light fit like 100% perfect. So the left one was like 95, 98%. This one was beautiful, just fit perfect. I mean, either way, they both look great. You know, there's not really anything, like, you can't really tell that it's an aftermarket light. Like, if you check all the gaps are pretty good. Slightly bigger gap on this side, on the top, but still not that big a deal. On the other side, it's like perfect. But yeah, so now, the fun part, time to put everything back together. Yay. So once I have everything back together, I'll show you guys what all the functions look like. You know, the turn signal, brake, reverse, daytime running light, or I guess just the running light, like when you're at night. Yeah. Alright guys, so finally the lights are done. Here's what they look like on the car during the day. I'm literally in love with these lights. Like, they look so sick. And then since I have a black car and I have like a black and red theme going on, I think they flow so well. Like, I have the overlays for the amber delete on my headlights, so you know it's like black, and then my winter wheels are black. So I got, you know, black going along the side, and then on the back as well, you know, now the taillights are darkened. But, you know, they still have reflectors. There's a red reflector in there, and a red reflector here. So, you know, they're still legal, but they look sick. And then in the back, I thought it was going to be too much, but since I have the red for the fourth brake light, and I have this red Subaru badge, I think it flows very well. You know, there's not like too much black. You have red in the middle, like the red accents, and then when the lights are on at night, the little C light that's white turns red. So I'll get some shots at night so you guys can see the lights a little bit better. But yeah, overall I'm impressed. I am very satisfied. 10 out of 10 would recommend these lights. You know, once I start using them, I'll see how they last. Hopefully they do. They're not cheap. Well, they're on the cheaper end. These are like between, I think, $400 and $450. And then I got these through Subispeed for the stimulus sale that they had. So it was like 10% off. So these came out a little bit above $400. Overall though, these look fantastic. So we'll see how they last. Really quick, make sure when you guys put everything back together that you have that switch set to the right position, because as you see here, I forgot to turn my right turn signal to the sequential, so I have a solid here and a sequential on this side, and I put everything back together already. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little annoying to get back there, so I'm gonna go back in there, flip the switch so I have even turn signals. So make sure you guys have the turn signals at the right spot, like that little switch, before closing them. By closing, I mean before you put everything back together. So just get the switches in the right spot before you close everything up.
But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys.